Hi, everybody. It's Lisa Benson from Benson's Boas. And today I wanted to bring to you a video about one of my favorite locality species. It's a subspecies of the boa constrictor called the boa constrictor Amarali. And this is one of my subadult girls. She's a 2021 female called Bianca. And one of the things I love about these boas is their natural beauty. They have an amazing head shape and they have an amazing personality, and we'll get more into that. But first I want to show you, let's see if I can get a little closer up so you can see the beauty. They have a beautiful, broad, flat, triangular head, and it's very muscular. And they have a short tail. So one of the other names for the boa constrictor Amarali is the short tail boa. And one of the things you can see here with her is that her tail is extraordinarily short. Typically, they only have 3 tail bands here, and her tail really is only from where my fingers are right here to the end. They are a stout boa. The females are a little bigger than the males. They tend to be max about 6 feet. The males are more like 5 feet. And as they mature, they get, a very wide, thick body, and not shaped the same as, say, most boa constrictors. They just are a bit wider and thicker, and they become more terrestrial as they get heavier bodied. When they're young, they do spend some time, in the brush and the trees in nature. And I do provide them climbing opportunities in their enclosures, but I find that, other than the basking shelves, they do spend most of their time on the ground. These boas were all brought to the United States by Joe Terry back in the 1980s, the mid-1980s. And there's been several lines created and a lot of, a few different people who've worked with them. Barry Miller was one noted person who worked with them too. There's been others as well. But they really are phenomenal boas. One of the things about them that is so cool is their personalities. They do tend to be quite docile, although they do have quite a feeding response. So I do tap train them. Something I'll go into in a video about how I do that in a future video. But you do want to let them know you're reaching in to handle them as opposed to feeding them, because they have quite a feeding response. But once you have them out of the enclosure, they are absolutely wonderful to handle and very, very wonderful snakes, very beautiful to look at. I really like this female because of her beautiful, beautiful silvery color, and she is just lovely. So this is Bianca. Hi, this is Alejandro. Alejandro is also a 2021 boa constrictor Amarali. And both Bianca and Alejandro came to me via Christina McEwen and Ted Brennan, who are out in California. And they breed beautiful Miller line Bolivian Amarali. So Amarali naturally occur in South America, in Bolivia, Paraguay, and some parts of Brazil. And they live in the foothills, the tropical rainforests, and grasslands. And they are actually, because of the destruction of their environments, they're actually becoming fairly endangered over there. So I feel pretty strongly that it's important to show people how incredibly beautiful these animals are and preserve them over here. So this is Alejandro. So the males can reach breeding maturity as early as 3 years old, but the females take longer, as is true for most locality boas and certainly the boa constrictors. The females don't reach breeding maturity until at least 5, and really more safely, 6 or 7. So it'll be a few years till I'm able to breed these guys. But absolutely lovely boas, wonderful to have in your locality collection. Look at the beautiful silvery coloration and the beautiful, beautiful heads on these guys. They are just wonderful. This is Alejandro. This is little Andre. Andre is a young male. He is a 2023 male Bolivian, also from Ted and Christina out in California. Miller line, pure Miller line Bolivian Amarali. And I really love this little guy. He's got a really cool pattern along his sides. If you can see it, you see it down on the bottom here. It runs down his length, and in certain lights you can really see he has beautiful like blue and pink shades that are like highlights in his color. And he hasn't yet developed that adult, the real triangular shape to his head yet, but that comes a little bit with age. You can see how wonderful these guys are to handle, but they're just gentle little boas. And here you see that short tail with just the few bands, and that beautiful silvery coloration they have. They're just marvelous boas. And the thing about them too is they're usually out and about in their enclosures. They love to sit, just on the substrate surface or a little slightly buried in the substrate. And they are fairly easy to care for, although they do require a slow, patient start. You don't want to overfeed these guys. They can regurgitate if you feed them too aggressively. So, for example, if you were going to feed your imperator at like 10 to 15% of their body weight for the size of your prey item, I would go one step down for a boa constrictor Amarali. So, for example, if your calculation would tell you that this guy would get if your calculation would tell you that this guy would get a large mouse, I would be feeding him a medium or a small instead. So that's the one thing you got to watch out for with these guys. But if you take it slow, they're very easy. So that's Andre. I'll bring out my next one. Here is little Alida. Alida is another young Bolivian Amarali, also from Ted and Christina, pure Miller line. And she is just the sweetest little thing. She has the prettiest little head. Let me see if I can get her to show you how pretty her little head is. Look at that. She's just the sweetest little girl. The Amarali, their temperature requirements, also pretty straightforward. Their humidity is pretty straightforward. They don't really need high humidity in the 60 to 65% relative humidity range. Let's see, in terms of temperature, I give them a hot spot of around 88. Their cool side is around, in the high 70s, very low 80s. And they're really straightforward little guys. And they're just lovely, lovely boas. Look how pretty she is. They just glow in their enclosures. Just glow. And you can always pretty much see them. They're very rarely hiding. That's the other thing I like about them. They're almost always out and about. Sometimes it's only their heads sticking out, but you can almost always see them. So this is Alida, and she's also a 2020, let's see, she's a 2023 baby girl. And you can tell I like Amarali. I have quite a few of them. I'll bring out my last one. It's a little bit different, so I'll bring that one out. This is little Ava. And Ava was bred by Seth Zelenik, a friend of mine. He's in Tennessee, and he has his business is Locale Constrictors. And Ava is a Joe Terry crossed with Miller bloodline. And she's a little bit different in that you can see she's got a lot of color on her sides. Can you see she's got like a pink, purpley, rosy color and really beautiful. And she's got some very cool markings, secondary markings in her tail region. And Ava is a young girl, and I was really excited to add her to my collection to get that slightly different bloodline in. And Ava is also a Bolivian Amarali, but just a slightly different bloodline. So you can see the slight difference in the way she looks. She's got beautiful side medallions and an absolutely gorgeous head on her. Look how lovely that head is. So Ava is growing up lovely, and she'll be moving into the adult enclosure soon. And right now she's still in the baby room, but Ava is doing really well. And yeah, I welcome any questions you might have about Amarali. If you didn't see already, I did a video. I think my last video was on South Brazilian Amarali, and so I figured I'd show you my Bolivian Amarali this week. So here they are. And yeah, it'll be a few years before I breed them because my oldest ones are probably a couple years away from breeding yet. But I'm very excited to start producing these guys because I love them so much. So anyway, this is Lisa Benson from Benson's Boas, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.